Guys, gals, and non-binary pals, welcome back to the Steel Donut Collective. My name is Bob. With me today I have Connor.
Hello there.
And Matt.
Hey, Matt.
And today we're looking at a blog that has actually been taken down off the internet. We found it years ago, actually. Kind of a little story here. A couple years ago, I got my search engine optimization marketing certificate or whatever. I took a class for like a week. And part of that was they were talking about making a blog that you can use to redirect to your stuff. And so I was thinking, maybe we could start a Steel Donut blog, start a website, start a blog, maybe provide writing tips. And so I wanted to look for other websites that were doing that and see if there was like a niche that we had that we could maybe work in or you know, something that was missing, something we could provide. And one of the websites that I came to was writerstoauthors.com. Since has been taken down, but we're looking at it in the archive, and the advice on this website, I don't know, it didn't rub me the right way. I thought some of it sounded kind of bad. Some of this advice didn't seem very good.
Kind of weird.
Yeah, and so we're gonna take a look at it now, after all these years, after it's already been gone. Right. Did we want to start with which one? The headlight method?
Yeah, so one of the most popular posts here is how to outline a novel, the headlight method. So, you know, you listener, you're trying to write your novel, or at least outline your novel. You know, you want to do some writing. So maybe this headlight method will be the one for you.
Yeah, we'll see.
Or maybe it'll be bad advice. We'll see.
Yeah. All right, so how to outline a novel, the headlight method. By the way, this blog was written by a guy called J.R. Hall, and on the right side of pretty much most of the blog pages, you can see he's trying to get you to take his free ebook, but I don't think that works anymore, and I'm not going to check.
Yeah, we looked it up, like,
either way.
We looked for J.R. Hall, like what he's published or so, and, you know, we didn't see anything, like no results, so we don't know his background. But that also is kind of a fact.
On the About page, there used to be a picture of him there, but the name of the picture...
we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Okay, so he's trying to sell his book or something. It's actually a free ebook, but
he's trying to sell
I don't know if that's even downloadable anymore.
He's trying to sell you his free ebook, yes.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, the headlight method. This post is kicking off ongoing but non-sequential series unofficially titled Outlining versus Discovery, in which we look at a variety of methods to outline a novel, whether you are a pantser or a plotter. So that sentence is a bit of a doozy.
Yeah. How to outline a novel. I'd think that would be the title of your thing, not outlining versus discovery writing.
Or pantser or plotter. Like, that could be, like, kind of interesting, too.
Yeah.
Whatever. E.L. Doctorow, I don't know who that is, quoted on the process of writing, in italics for some reason, said, "Writing is like driving a car at night. You can only see as far as the headlights, but you make the whole trip that way."
Oh, you don't know who that is because he spelled his name wrong.
Oh, really?
It's Doctorow.
Oh,
his name is E.L. Doctorow, not E.L. Doctorow.
Like, did you search for that
He's a novelist. I searched for his name.
Okay.
And it got me E.L. Doctorow, the American novelist, editor, and professor, best known for his works of historical fiction.
Well,
not E.L. Doctorow, who's not a real person.
Okay.
He spelled his name wrong.
I'm starting to think this blog writer can only see where their headlights are when writing this article.
I'm not sure this is the best advice to follow already, but we'll see. Maybe he'll give some good advice. Using the logic above, what would that look like when you begin to outline a novel? I don't know how I'm supposed to inflect these italicized parts.
Yeah, outline a novel.
What would you need to know about your story at the very least to begin? And then in parentheses, I'm interested in hearing from you on this.
Oh,
Okay, buddy.
You usually don't put your call to action right at the beginning. But
Be sure
fine.
to hit that like, that favorite, and that subscribe
yeah.
button.
Leave a
Leave a bunch of
comment.
I'm interested in hearing
Helping
from you
me
on this.
out, doing my work for
Help
me.
the algorithm on my blog. Be sure to comment
Uh-huh.
and favorite and subscribe to my blog.
Make sure to go and smash that guest book as well.
Follow me on Twitter, on Twitch.
Okay, yeah.
I don't stream on Twitch, but you should follow me there anyway.
Yeah, become
So-
friends with me on my MySpace.
Be
So
sure
yeah,
to hit
this
up my
is
OnlyFans.
this is very interesting because it's going to be an article about this headlight method where you can only plan, or you're planning just kind of directly in front of you, but it's also about you're doing that while outlining your whole novel.
By the way,
So,
he didn't explain what a pantser or a plotter is, but I don't remember if it's from this website or from other places. I imagine it's from other places, but obviously, in case you don't know, a pantser is somebody who's writing by the seat of their pants, and a plotter is somebody who plots the whole thing out beforehand.
Right.
I don't know if he'll go into detail. I don't think he goes into detail about that here.
I mean, he assumes you already know all of the necessary.
Right.
You've done the pre-reading
Nomenclature,
you needed.
yeah.
Yeah.
You did the reading before you came to class.
Yeah.
Minimal story criteria. Bullet point 1, main character. Bullet point 2, conflict. Without conflict, you do not have a story.
True.
True.
But you could have a story without a main character. Well,
I think
yeah, so,
maybe
but-
you could. I don't know. Yeah, you could expand this out further to add extra detail if you want. But for simplicity, we will stick with these 2 sets of criteria. Let's take Bobby, a young fictional character I just imagined, and run through the planning process of our story using our headlights to view the story.
Okay.
However, since we cannot just drop Bobby in a story without conflict, let's throw some at him. What if there was a vicious attack dog guarding a dark secret in the yard next door? I like it.
I don't, but okay. I'm glad you do.
How to
Yeah.
outline a novel.
I'm trying
well,
to
let's learn.
evaluate this. That doesn't only 2 bullet points, main character in conflict, minimal story criteria. I'm obviously not a writing advice writer, but I have, written something. Now I was on, the fan fiction level and never made any money and got few reviews, but I might just compare, what worked
Your
for me
experience,
versus this.
How to outline a novel. Using the small amount of information we have come up with, we could plan the first few chapters using some brainstorming exercises. What if game, mind mapping, and more. He talks about that on another blog. And start sketching out a rough outline. Remember, we're not trying to plan the whole story, rather, just enough to begin writing. If you do not know what the ending will look like, that's fine. Write what you can see now with your headlights.
Okay.
So, I don't know. Well, we'll see.
So,
Example.
okay, well,
Yeah, go for it.
So, all right, this headlight method is you don't need to know the ending, but you need to know far enough to get you writing at the beginning, which kind of in a whole general sense is a smaller example of what I'd imagine would work the best, which is knowing what's going to happen in your entire story.
Yeah.
So here it's saying all right, plan out enough that you feel comfortable starting with the events you have planned, but the most comfortable you can be if you actually really want to write a book, I'd say, again, expanding out this idea, is to plan your whole book, or at least the very major events, the beginning and the end, all the major things along the way, so that you feel comfortable starting at any point not going I have no idea how to get to the next event.
Yeah. And I think part of that also here, his example is chapter 1, Bobby's family moves into a new house and he sees a dog change in the backyard. That is not enough for a chapter, but fine, whatever. He moves into a new house. Chapter 2, one night Bobby witnesses the dog digging and sees what looks like a human bone in the dirt. That's a nice event. Again, I don't necessarily think you should be attaching chapters to these, but at this
Maybe
stage,
this is a kid's
but these
book,
are
and each chapter is a page long.
Sure, okay, fine.
Maybe R.L. Stein followed this,
Yeah, sure. Chapter 3, Bobby's family goes next door to have dinner with the new neighbors. Bobby sees the dog with dirt caked on his paws and what looks like blood on his teeth. Okay, so you got the 3 chapters here. The problem I have, though, is that, it sounds like you're trying to write a mystery. Some kind of mystery story. And, these first 3 chapters might be all right because you haven't even really met the villains yet.
Yeah.
But like, if you're writing a mystery, you have to lay down the groundwork of the later stuff earlier, right? The groundwork has to happen.
You need you need to know how the mystery ends so that the beginning of the mystery makes sense. With the
otherwise,
end of it.
otherwise the mystery will just abruptly end. And like the headlight method, your trip will come to an abrupt end when you crash.
Yeah, like I was gonna say, like you cannot write like a mystery story without knowing how it ends because how else are you gonna fit the beginning and the ending together?
And so this is the weird thing. Based on his example, he has thought through kind of those first few pieces that set up something, but has intentionally not thought through what the ending is. It's almost like he's done it backwards. So, like, what this story is going to be, you know, Bobby's family is here and he sees the dog and the dog is really suspicious and all of these little details. And then when it really matters, like, oh, what's the twist going to be? That's when you're going to be like, oh shit, I'm only writing as far as my headlights are.
Yeah.
Like, that is the exact wrong way to do it.
This is how you write yourself into a corner.
Exactly.
And then
because
you have to go back and start over again.
Like, at this point, you've written 3 chapters, and it could end up being that the dog isn't doing anything. Right? Like, Bobby does all this investigating, and it turns out he thinks that the neighbors are doing something nefarious, and it turns out they weren't.
J. Edgar Bob Pole over here.
Yeah, or it could turn out that are you talking about me or him? Bobby.
Him. I'm talking about Bobby. He's over here being J. Edgar Bob Pole.
Yeah. But on the other hand, you could also, you know, he uncovers some grand mystery and the neighbor's family is doing something terrible or the neighbors are doing something awful, right? And now this is entirely up in the air and you haven't constructed anything early on that's
I was going to say, knowing which one of those 2 things it is crucial to writing the first parts of this. Because, all right, say nothing was happening and you wrote this like something was happening. And then it turns out nothing was happening. Everyone's going to be super fucking confused when they get to the end of the story.
So they were just acting suspiciously for no reason at all.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, the most suspicious thing, now that I'm looking at it, the most suspicious thing about these first 3 chapters is that Bobby's family moved into a new house, and the neighbors are new, too.
I didn't even notice that,
Yeah.
I guess they could be new to Bobby's family, but have been living there for a while. I think that's what he means.
That might be what it means, but...
Yeah.
That's funny.
After you have brainstormed out the first few chapters, and you feel comfortable with the beginning, you can start writing, knowing you are heading for the furthest you could see with your headlights. In our case, Bobby goes with his parents next door. That's the furthest you could see?
That's a bad idea, dude.
I can see further than that.
Idea. Or do you have your light, you know, there's like...
high beams.
Having your headlights on high and having them on like low. He's got his like on lowest.
Yeah.
He's got his fucking parking lights on right now, and he's trying to
he's
see.
just doing the little flashers.
Yeah, and this is saying you plan 3 chapters out, and then you write those 3 chapters before you begin to plan the next ones out. Like,
that's bad.
Like, I'd say, okay, if I was using this, and it's like, okay, so I know what at least the first 3 chapters will be. That'll let me write the first one and get going. I certainly hope that I start to look ahead a bit. Because, like, high beams, your car doesn't just drive until it hits the edge of the high beams and then it loads the next chunk in. Your high beams are always, still looking forward more.
Yeah, so you, you outline 3 like, even, like, a slightly better version of this method would be outline 3 chapters, write 1 chapter, outline another chapter.
Yeah.
So at any given moment, until you get to the end of the book, you have 3 chapters planned out ahead of you, so you know where you're headed. I still don't think that's necessarily a great way to do it, but fine. And then, like, my brain is still thinking of, like, how would you improve it? Well, you could outline more chapters, and then while you're at it, you might as well outline the whole thing. And, oh, look at that, you're not doing the thing anymore. You're not doing the headlight method at all if you plan the whole thing out, so why do the headlight method? Anyway, the story's form is still loose in our head, but there is enough structure that our mind should start to make decisions and connections to our set points. Ideas will spring up and detours may happen, but the structure can hold your course. The detours are really going to be a major distraction if you're just playing it by ear. When you reach the end of whatever chapter you last sketched out, take a break and look back at what you wrote. That is good advice. Do you like it? Are there characters that showed up that you did not expect and need further explaining?
What?
How?
Reviewing back your last chapter, it's like, wait a second, I didn't write this. Who is this guy? What's
Who the
going
fuck
on?
is Billy? Bobby has a friend named Billy, but he just moved to this town. Where did he come from?
I never wrote about Billy. How is Billy in my document? I typed.
Yeah. And then, like, you see on the page, Billy says, Connor, I'm watching you. And you're like, ah!
I've heard of, like, people say, oh, my characters, I lost control of them. But this guy sounds like a lost control of things that showed up in the last chapter.
Yeah, no, these characters, they're real, and they're coming for you outside the story.
That's the real mystery. This is some House of Leaves, like fourth wall stuff. Oh my god.
Protect yourself.
Dude.
Always plan ahead.
Yeah.
Yet the question that is most important after reaching your stopping point is, and then what?
Okay. And then what?
Yeah.
From here, you take any notes you made during your initial writing. New characters, setting changes, name changes.
What,
Bobby is now
the
named...
entire setting?
Bobby is now named Blobby.
Hang on, wait, what?
Yeah, and plan the next few chapters as you see them.
Maybe we made an entirely different story.
Yeah.
That. We
And
changed all
also-
the character names and the setting changed as well.
And also that link to, of course, another article on his page is specifically 6 easy tips. What? It disappeared. Sorry. It's specifically 6 easy writing tips for NaNoWriMo success.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure one of those tips is about taking notes. More than likely, while you were writing the first few chapters, your brain was already playing ahead and informed you of where the story wanted to go. I like that your brain, the story, and you are all 3 separate entities that want and do different things.
Hey, man, I ain't taking no advice from your stinking brain.
You are trying to follow the
I'm gonna
headlight
write
method.
what I want.
Your brain is trying to plan ahead, but you're like, no, I have to follow writers to authors.
Yeah, the brain is investigating the story, and you are independent of that process.
That brain's investigating the story and going, wow, this is some pretty fucking bad garbage. What is this? What the fuck did you write? What?
But that's why it's
method?
so-
What the
No.
fuck are you doing?
See, this is exactly why it's so important to maintain your objectivity from your brain, because if you start listening to your brain, you might notice you're writing a bad story.
You stop listening to writers to authors.
Yeah,
By the way,
stop listening to those bad notes that your brain is giving you.
I love that it's writers to authors, not authors to writers.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going... I think the idea is... I thought it was a conversation between writers and authors, but maybe it's supposed to be like you're changing yourself.
Oh, I
to
see.
be
Okay.
You were a writer and now you're an author.
Yeah,
and I think that's really just a tone difference.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not
from
like
nonfiction to fiction.
Do you
But-
become an author once you have finished your first written story?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like you could be the author of a single chapter, right? Like that's a thing, or like you could. I don't know. Maybe there's a more technical definition of author that I'm not familiar with. I always thought they were basically synonyms, but with maybe a slight tone difference.
Yeah. Author, a writer of a book, article, or report. So
Book,
maybe this
article, or
guy's
report.
getting that, like, once you have finished something, even if it's just chapter or so, you can say author. I
You
don't
can
know.
say it. Yeah, maybe. Kind of the difference between a chef and a cook. There's one.
I mean,
there is
I
actually
wrote a
difference.
report in college, so am I an
You're
author?
an author.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I didn't get a good grade, but I did write it.
Yeah, well, no one said it had to be good. That's
Oh,
why you
yeah,
use the
that's
headlight
not,
method.
that's not a part of the criteria, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just remain aware of where your mind is going and take notes. That does not mean you have to use everything in your notes, but having it written down will help with getting it out of your head so you can focus on writing. That is true. Once you come up with enough meat for the next few chapters, sit down and start the process again. Then rinse and repeat until you have finished your novel.
But wait,
I hear people say.
you need more details than just a main character and some conflict to structure your story.
And my answer to that would be, shut up. Maybe.
Yes. Technically correct. The best kind of correct.
Exactly. And he's about to become even more technically correct. In the craft of writing, there are no rules. Well, maybe just one. And that is, there are no rules.
I mean, that could go for anything, though.
That's true of literally everything. Like,
there are no rules. There are methods that work very well, but you don't have to follow them, but you really should.
Okay. So technically speaking, yes, there are no rules.
You can do things badly if you want to. No one will stop you.
And
but you are doing them badly.
And that's not to say that everyone who follows the rules does well, and everyone who breaks the rules does poorly.
Yeah.
Obviously. But the idea that there are no rules, so you should just write whatever, is kind of silly, because, like, part of writing for other people, if you're writing for yourself, that is entirely separate, right? Like, who cares?
Sure. Yeah,
but like, if you're writing for other people, you need to have an idea of what will connect with them. Exactly. Otherwise, you have no chance of connecting with them, right? And like, what'll connect with them? Well, they exist in a culture, in a society. We live in one of those, and like, this culture is what determines what the tropes and the cliches are. Yeah. So like, wouldn't that be helpful to follow? I mean, it's like either follow or subvert or be aware of.
When I was in school, when I was in English, they always said that whenever you write, you always have to keep your audience in mind.
Yeah.
I feel like,
right.
That's super important. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you mentioned this before recording, Bob, that, you know, saying something like this, like, oh, in writing there are no rules, is like saying, oh, in cooking there are no rules.
Right,
sure, technically you can put anything together to make any final product you want, but most of them will taste like shit. And there's very well known from the beginning of when, you know, humanity started making food, you know, techniques like baking or so. Baking often, you know, you have a bunch of ingredients together that don't, you know, look so good or taste so good all together before you put it in, but the process of baking is going to put it all together and make it all into something very enjoyable afterwards. And I think,
Connor, don't you knock my Velveeta cheesecake, okay?
Your Velveeta cheesecake could work, though. Like, that's the point. Velveeta cheesecake takes principles of cooking and then uses them to make food.
Slapped on top of a cake.
Okay, well,
I mean, you're also talking to the creator of 3 a.m. SpaghettiOs, so
that's true.
Dude, 3 a.m. SpaghettiOs, I love that shit.
By the way, Matt, I don't know if you knew this, but Velveeta does have a cheesecake recipe.
I found like home recipes. Me and Blake found like home recipes or whatever, and we found like a Velveeta cheesecake recipe. And one of the
I heard they were pretty good, actually.
One of the reviews was from Matt from South Carolina, and Blake was like, "What the fuck did you?" And I was like, "You got me. I tried this."
Oh,
but okay, to finish up my point, then to turn it over to writing, you know, there are kind of, based on genres and such, specific things you do need to do, like a mystery, like mentioned earlier. You know, you need to put kind of clues or things along the way to, you know, keep people's attention or whatever. You can't just go like, oh, I have no rules, I guess I'll have, you know, kind of a mystery sort of set up at the start, but then like just veer off and do whatever I want, and then say the mystery was answered at the end.
You could always do it like the person that wrote the Ripper game and just have whoever you wanted be the killer, so you never had to wrap anything up.
I mean, I guess. But
did you know that? Did you ever see that?
No.
In the game The Ripper, it's like every single person could be the killer, and at the end you just like pick the one you want, and they were the killer.
Really?
Yes, it's so fucking funny. It's like the guy you click on was the killer at the end. So literally any of them could be the killer, and the entire game doesn't have an actual resolution.
What?
Huh.
Yes, it's such bullshit. That game is such bullshit.
Interesting.
Maybe they used the headlight method.
They used the headlight method. They just wrote like any of them could be the killer, and, you know, any of them could have been the killer.
Huh.
Literally.
Well, so that's just what I feel about that there are no rules statement, you know.
Yeah, it just seems like maybe a little misleading. All right. You can start with nothing and begin writing, or have the whole novel mapped out before you put pen to paper. Your choice. If you feel like you need more details, just add them. We could have started our list with more details than just a main character and some conflict.
What is the point of this article, then? I thought
Are you trying to promote the headlight method? It sounds like you're saying that the headlight method, taken to its logical conclusion, is a bad thing.
Yeah, like, you're talking about this specific method, and even back with the 2 bullet point minimal story criteria, you said, like, we will stick with these 2 sets of criteria, for this article or such. Like, this article is basically kind of an introduction, but then you're just copied out and saying, no, you can do whatever you want.
I mean, you don't have to follow my shitty method. You could actually use like a real method that actually works for writing stories. You don't
That's just it. This method is all those other methods if you don't finish them. Right? Like, plotting out your story, but you stop plotting partway through, you're doing the headlight method.
Whoa. You're doing the headlight method all along.
Yeah, so, like, it turns out no matter what you do, you're doing the headlight method. Great. Fantastic. Good job. Proud of you.
Pretty much.
Yeah, this just feels like an introduction to a method and then just talking about whatever. Like, imagine you got an encyclopedia or something, or reading a Wikipedia article, and like the first paragraph is about the thing that the article is about, but then the rest of it just becomes more and more general.
Yeah. Basic story elements. In my newest ebook, Foundation Factors, the 4-step blueprint for crafting a winning story, we go over the 4 foundational factors of any great story. Writing formulas and strategies come and go, but there are basic story elements that are essential. So if these are essential, why weren't they the things we picked out?
Essential oils, right?
At the beginning. We picked out a main character and conflict.
This is now just a completely different topic.
Yeah. Well, the foundation factors are the problem, lead character, objective, the resolution. Now, I understand why he ended that last one with the resolution as opposed to resolution. Because you really can't have plore.
Yeah, he wanted it to be plot and not plore.
Or even worse, placor.
Ooh.
I see, yeah.
Yeah, like that would have sucked.
If you're ever trying to make an acronym and you just can't think of what one of the things should be, you could always just do the resolution.
Do the blank, yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you need an A, you could do a resolution, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like that. With those 4 details, you should have enough information set in your mind that you can plan as much or as little as you need to feel comfortable. So again, that's not the headlight method.
Yeah.
But going back to the idea behind the headlight system. It's a system now.
Oh.
You do not have to know everything to start writing. You only need to know enough to begin and then keep going. Therefore, if we are going to take the foundation factors and apply them to our example story, I'm pretty sure he came up with the term foundation factors.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what that means, yeah.
I'm kind of like half looking up any ideas or such this guy introduces to see if they're more general or not.
Yeah. It could look like this. Problem. There is something buried in the backyard that a vicious dog is guarding. Lead, Bobby. Objective, find out what is buried in his neighbor's yard. You ready for this? The resolution, Bobby distracts the dog, traps him, and finds that his neighbors have been burying bodies in their backyard, calls the police, and saves the day.
Damn.
So you are literally planning the ending of your story so you know what to go towards. Yes. As one of the major components of this foundation factors that is supposed to work with your headlight method where you only plan a little bit ahead.
Yes.
Like, you don't even plan the intro or whatever. This foundation factors is plot, main character, I guess objective, plot again, but written in a more action sense, and then the ending.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Cool.
That is an exaggerated story example, but you get the idea. The headlight method of planning may be a slower approach to writing your novel, due to all the looking back before going forward. But when it comes to completing your novel, what does it matter how you got there? No question mark.
So reviewing what you've done so far is integrally part of this method, even though I thought that was just something you're supposed to be doing along the way. And
this is a really
implies
important part,
that any other method, you don't have to go back and review at all. Like, if you plan it all out, if you know every event that needs to happen, in no way do you need to look back at what you've actually written to make sure that it's the best it could be.
I mean, I'm not even sure that this is...
trust you.
I'm not even sure that this is necessarily going to be a slower way to write your novel. I feel like this would be faster because, like, overall, you still have to plan every chapter, right? So, like, you plan 3 chapters at a time and eventually get, let's say, 12-chapter book, right? So you either planned all 12 chapters beforehand, wrote it, and then read over the whole thing and did, like, a second pass. Or you planned 3 chapters, you wrote that, you did the second pass. You wrote 3 more chapters, wrote it, did a second pass. You just changed the order of the steps. But I feel like you would probably get done faster because you only check over the stuff once, and then, like, your story may not make any sense at the end.
Yeah, this sounds like, and I agree with you, this sounds like it might be faster because it seems to have a very definite starting point of, like, once you have your idea, you do the planning of the first few chapters to lead into writing them. Like, again, to kind of bring up what I did, just like as a counter experience. And again, it might be a really severe kind of thing, but, like, I never thought I was gonna write something, but I just kept having this story idea in my head and, like, developing more parts of it, thinking up more, parts of it, eventually to the point where I basically had thought through, like, all of the entire conversations. And that went on for years, like middle of high school to, like, 2 years into college, like 4 years. And finally it was like, Jesus, I literally know event and every line of dialogue. I have to actually put this out. And so then I wrote it really fast. But, like, if you take my method as starting to plan everything out and then planning everything out or whatever, that's a timeline of, like, 4 years compared to, oh, I have an idea. Let me get started on my headlight method thing tomorrow. And, that feels like, just due to, what I mean, due to how this works, you're going to be banging out the same amount in much less time.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you basically outlined it in your head, and then you wrote it in your head, and then you just put that to paper. Will that work for everybody? Almost certainly not. But, like, you did the not this method to get the story. I don't know.
Right. Again, that was specifically very, severe, because that was, again, I did not think, or I did not expect that I would write this out or whatever, so I did just allow every little detail to be created first. When I wrote more than that, it was more natural. But again, for me specifically, I did always want to know, the ending and all the set pieces along the way, so that I knew from the beginning that I had all those major events.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about this.
That was not helpful advice.
It was kind of like describing one method, but then constantly just saying to do whatever you want. But even sticking within this one method, I'm not comfortable really with the idea of, I don't know very much past what I want to see. Like, if you're doing car analogies and such, when it's dark, you can't see beyond your headlights, but I have Google Maps to tell me how far I need to go down the highway and what turns to make after I turn off that. Yeah.
Even before you have Google Maps, like, okay, you don't know necessarily. Let's say it's the 1970s. Nobody has GPS really. So, okay, it's a dark road. You're driving down the road. You still know roughly where you're going. Home.
Right.
Yeah.
And
so, like, you have an idea of your destination. and then you look at the street signs and you see where it leads and you try to figure it out from there. But like that still involves knowing where you're going. Otherwise, you're just blindly driving somewhere and you hope you end up somewhere good.
Yeah, the literal comparison here is like you're suddenly teleported into a car on a road. You have no idea where you are. You have no idea what's beyond your headlights. You have no idea where you're going. Yeah. I'd be like screaming, you know, or I'd just stop the car and get out.
Really? That's what you would do?
Well, again, you have no idea where you're going. Like,
I would drive around until I saw civilization and ask where I was.
Okay, yeah.
I would just get out and scream like he did.
Yeah, okay. You know what? You never know what you would do in that situation. I think I probably would just get out and scream.
Yeah. That's what you do.
All right. Do we want to look at that mind map, or do we want to head over to about? I think we should just jump over to the mind map real quick because I do like the mind map.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So there's another article here on the website called "How to Come Up with Story Ideas," and it's a whole thing. The first part of the thing is like try to come up with one, which is like not a good way to start. And then the second part is this is not an exhaustive list, and it's like, yeah, we know. Thank you.
Figured that out already. Yeah.
But he lists like 6 ways, or a couple ways, and I just want to jump down to number 5. Number 5 is research topics you are interested in. And number 6 is mind map, and those two are connected in this. I did this recently. This is for number 5. I did this recently on a political thriller that I was outlining. Between my research into a secret sect of the CIA and an ongoing story in the news, I had more than a few ideas and plot leads for my story. And my research all started with a news story that wouldn't go away.
Oh, I really want to see a political thriller written by this guy.
Yeah.
He also won't tell us what the news story was or anything. He doesn't want us to steal his idea.
Yeah, he doesn't want us to steal his idea, and it's about the secret sect of the CIA. And actually, reading that back, knowing when this was written and I have a feeling I know what the news story was, but I don't want to say. I will let others speculate about it, but I will tell you guys afterwards what I think his idea was. I do like the idea of a secret sect of the CIA, like it's a religion.
Yeah.
Like
a religious
He's
sect.
doing the research into the secret sect.
Yeah, like, what are you talking about? But then number 6, mind map. On a piece of paper, write down a topic that interests you. Next, as you think about that topic, add any other idea that pops into your head based on the topic as a branch off of the main topic. This technique works best drawn out, but the main point is to not filter yourself. And then he has like an example mind map here, and like, if you just Google what a mind map looks like, this is not what it looks like. This is a terrible mind map.
Yeah, this is his amazing mind map he's using for his story, and it's just like CIA, start with that, and then around it, it's just like any words he could think of that maybe relate, like agents, terrorists, black ops.
Black budget, ultra covert. Like, he's just thinking of spooky words and then tying them together with lines. But, like, the point of a mind map is, like, for example, CIA, line goes to agents, and then a line from there goes to handlers. All he's done is done word association there. But a real mind map starts from the broad and then goes to the specifics. I saw an example on, when you Google it, I'm sure we can probably find this example again, but the example is basically that, if you're planning a trip, you think, we're going to need transportation. And to get that transportation, it could be a car or a plane. And if we're going to get a car, it'll probably need to be a rental. And if it's a rental, we'll go here. And they have a specific name for a place they're going to go to get the car, right? So we went from holiday to transportation to car to rental to Hertz. And that is going from the general to the specific as you go further out from the center of the mind map. That's useful. right? At that point, you are solving the problems of your story. You could even do this, use a mind map to determine how your story is going to be set up. Okay, I know this is the central story, but I don't know the who, what, when, where, why. Okay, who is doing what? It's this terrorist organization. Who's the leadership of that? Who are the underlings? What is the structure? You know, you could use a mind map for that, or like, where is it happening? It's happening in the Middle East. It's happening in South America. It's happening in the United States. And, you know, it's happening in these locations more specifically. You can do that if you want to, you know, if you want to use a mind map. What he's got here is just word association.
Yeah,
and it's not even
like,
words he maybe necessarily even understands. Right? Like CIA, terrorists, and that's also somehow linked to Middle East and USA. But I think that's just a branching thing. But, like, what about those things?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or
Terrorists
like,
exist. The Middle East exists. The US exists.
yeah, this is just words or things he's heard of or knows about the CIA. They've got to include like the link, you know, from CIA to the farm, which sounds all spooky and creepy and like mysterious or whatever until you realize that it got its own Wikipedia page. It's literally just like
is just
the
where they
main
train
building for their training facility because they are a United States government agency. They need a building. Like,
it would be bizarre if the CIA didn't train people. So like of course they have the farm. Like, regardless of my feelings about the CIA, the idea that they have a training facility isn't itself anything. But I mean, like, no, if your idea of mind mapping is to just write down, just play word association and just write everything down, okay.
Yeah, so I feel like this will inevitably lead to, like, he's writing something, it's just like, oh, I gotta throw all these things in.
Exactly, yeah. It'll be like, well, I've gotta work it, or he may say, like, I don't have to use everything on my mind map, fine, but, like, I feel like you'll end up with a lot more contrived situation. It'll be like, where do my heroes go from here? And he looks at his mind map and he sees the farm and he's like, that's where they're storing the data. You know? And it's like, did it have to be there? Does it even make sense for it to be there? No, but you've heard the phrase, the farm, and you think that sounds cool, so you're just like,
The data.
Right, like, this didn't develop your plot, this just kind of gives you related things to include.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was all I really wanted to see on that page. The last thing I wanted to look at was the about page. And again, we're skipping the top part of the about page because really all he's saying is like, this is supposed to be a place for us to discuss tips and tactics and techniques we've learned along the way. I haven't seen a single comment section on his website, so I don't know how this is a discussion. Yeah. But he's like, okay, here, I'm gonna try to. There's a blog for advice, and then at the very bottom he says, history of Writers to Authors. Writers to Authors was created by J.R. Hall as a way to track his journey in becoming a professional writer and provide writing advice to others along the way. The site launched in January of 2014 and has grown quickly and steadily by the drive to help new writers grow and through the support of the subscribers of this blog. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't see a way to subscribe to this blog.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm betting that the way this site has grown quickly and steadily is he's just uploaded more things to read. Yeah. More articles. Like, you can't say that's how your site's growing. You're just adding to it.
This is exactly the kind of boilerplate nonsense that I would have put on a social as a social media SEO type person. You just write some junk there to fill the space. And
also I like how it's written by this guy J.R. Hall on a way to track his journey in becoming a professional writer and provide writing advice. So as he's trying to figure it out, he's writing these things as like advice you should take to people who are trying to figure it out. Like,
it's
normally you're trying to pass knowledge on, not blind leading the blind kind of.
Yeah. And then of course there's the about me section here, and next to this writing, he had a wonderful picture of himself. I mean, can we look at it?
We can, but I wanted to just say one thing.
Because we saved a copy of this picture before it got archived.
The name, he says his name is J.R. Hall.
Yeah.
But the name of the JPEG was Jason McCauley? Is that
I'm
the guy
guessing
that
that's the
took
photographer.
picture?
I'm guessing that's the photographer.
Yeah.
I've always
But, all right,
wondered
let's
about that.
look at this picture. He's just kind of...
It's so good.
Yeah, he's just kind of
What a
smiling dopily, just looking just off screen.
Like a dead-eye stare off screen.
How much do you think Jason McCauley got paid to take this picture of him?
Nothing. I imagine it's his buddy who just like took a picture of He was probably just like in the side of another photo and they zoomed in or something. I don't know why he thought that was a good picture. We all thought that was such a bad picture. We all did.
White.
Yeah, back when we first found it, and you can tell how long ago it was based on, like, basically everything about all our appearances have changed since then. But yeah, here we go. We all at the time tried to imitate it, and I think
Bob did it the best.
I appreciate you saying that. I didn't want to say it.
Here's
when I practiced
our collage.
Yeah, I did practice before this shoot. My hair and beard look nothing like that anymore.
Yeah, we don't even own that house anymore that I'm in.
I don't own the house though. I mean, we don't own the house that I was in for that either. Blake doesn't own that beard anymore.
Yeah.
You know, since that picture of Blake, I believe he's gone through losing the beard completely and losing his head hair completely since then, and growing them both back.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how much we've changed.
Yeah, it's been
I know, you
years.
can tell this is a really old picture of me because I don't look like complete garbage.
Well, you can tell it's a really old picture because it's in black and white.
Right.
Oh, yeah. There was no... Back when we took this picture, color had not been invented
yet, yeah.
Yeah. You know, I think I'm gonna steal this and I'm gonna make this my LinkedIn profile image.
Yeah, do the JR smile, add yourself to the collage.
I think Connor doesn't necessarily...
Not this picture of me. This entire collage is going to be my LinkedIn image.
I don't
and
think
that
Connor...
way, when they ask me which one I am, I can say, I can point to either one of these.
Yeah. I don't think Connor's eyebrows really got what J.R. Hall was doing, but his smile is exactly right.
Yeah, looking back at this, like, I've got a really sharp light to my face. I was probably doing it by the window. You know,
so did he. So did he.
Well, yeah.
His is a little softer of a light, but most definitely by the window.
Yeah. But I think, honestly, that's probably the biggest problem.
I love the, like, static texture behind his head.
Yeah, I believe that's just like a wall.
Left. I know, but it looks like a static texture.
Yeah, it really does.
It does look like staticky on the left.
Like
I don't know what happened over there.
Spackle or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck happened.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's what that was. Real quick, I just want to read the last bit about me. Hi, my name is J.R. Hall, and I am the founder and senior writer of WritersToAuthors.com. My first love, besides for my lord and family, is for the fiction novels that fill my computer and my head. Is also a...
Oh, is he now?
Yeah, it came halfway through, he changed to third person. Is also a freelance blogger, content editor for clients, and curriculum builder for my local church.
What the fuck happened?
Hey, JR, you talk about going back and reviewing what you've done. You should do that for anything you write.
I can tell you exactly what happened. He was writing this in third person. Like, about J.R. Hall. J.R. Hall is the founder and senior writer of blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and then he decided the last second to change it to first person. And then he decided to go first person to make it a little bit more personable, and then didn't read the sentences aloud. So he changed, J.R. Hall is to... is also a freelance blogger, and then for my local church a local church, he just added my. When not writing and spending time with my family, I spend most of my time and a lot of my money, learning and researching the craft of writing.
Wait, why did you bad amount of money on that?
Why did you wait? What do you mean? And a lot of my money.
He invested a lot into this.
rent or utilities $50, groceries $100, how to write books, 10,000.
Yeah,
Someone help me, my family is dying.
Yeah. I have a passion to teach others
how to write. No.
I have passion to teach others in the lessons I've learned and share the knowledge of this exciting field. Wait, what? I have a passion to teach others the lessons I have learned and share the knowledge of this exciting field. I started my writing journey in 2012 and haven't slowed down since. And then his website shut down.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, you slowed down at least in 2019. No, 2020. It looks like 2020 is the last. No, 2020 is the very last time anyone. No, 2019 is the last time. 2020 is when his website disappeared.
I don't think he wrote a bunch of articles early on and then just kind of stopped, it seems.
Yeah.
2019
actually,
seems to be the last
he did
time
it over the
anyone
course of like a couple of years. He did like
2014
12
articles,
or so
2016 articles.
Okay.
And 2019 seems to be the last time anyone had any pictures of this website. So I'm assuming in 2020 it was gone.
Yeah. It's not there now. So
again, I don't see any results for searching up J.R. Hall, so we don't know that is also a fact against itself, kind of.
Okay, 2019, I went to look what his website looked like. The front page looks to have changed, but guess what? The only articles he's still got listed here are how to come up with story ideas and how to outline a novel.
Guys, we'll be back soon. I just went to writerstoauthors.com. Get ready.
Yes!
Writers to Authors is currently being restructured in order to offer you an even better coaching than before.
It's coming back, baby!
Here's a sneak peek of what you can expect once we're back online. Learn how to outline your novel. Learn how to structure your story. Craft a scene that propels readers forward. These are all the articles that he had on the website before. Develop characters that your audience connects with. Learn how to finish your first draft fast. And master self-publishing and become a professional writer, baby!
Oh my god.
He's coming back! He's coming back!
And he's got a clip art picture of a rocket ship going off, and it looks like it's going to the moon.
To the moon!
To the room!
Oh god.
Okay. Well, there you go. That was writersauthors.com.
Beautiful.
Thanks for watching. If you caught this around the time of release, we're still doing our bi-weekly streams of a gargantuan story called Fate that you absolutely should not miss. During the streams, we bring on volunteers to voice characters and hang out with us for a bit. And if you need to catch up, you still have time. Our patrons are on screen, and they get priority to voice characters, but we try to make sure everyone who wants to has an opportunity to join in at least once. More details in the announcement video on our channel. Take care, get vaccinated if you can, and have a good one.